Hello again, guys. Just wanted to take some time to do a backtest scenario of what happened last week to actually show you, excuse me, one of the reasons why I don't rush into trades once I see candles forming. Instead, I wait for my confirmation on my lower time frames, excuse me, so that I can get the correct entry. Remember, there's no rush in the moves. You just need to be patient and wait properly so that you can get your correct entries. So as usual, we'll just pray before we begin. God, thank you again for another opportunity to trade and to review and to just go over concepts that will help us to become better traders. I pray for anyone watching this video. May it be beneficial to them and may we all succeed together. We thank you and we love you. Amen. All right, guys. So I'll share my screen real quick. All right. Now, one of the things that I learned when I was doing my course a number of years ago is that if there's no retest, there's no trade. Okay, that's what some people trade and live by. If there's no retest, there's no trade. So you need to wait for proper confirmations before you actually take your trades. The more you wait, the more patient you are, is the better quality moves that you're going to get and the better results you're going to see from your trades. Okay. Now, I have this visual here and I will show it to you right now, and then we'll go through it in a back testing scenario so that you can actually see exactly what I'm talking about. All right. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, TradingView has a backtesting feature. By clicking here on this arrow right at the top where it says bar replay, and then you can actually drag your cursor to any historical point in time, and then you can actually replay as you'd be trading on a regular day. Okay, this is used so that you can test scenarios, you can test different theories that you have, different elements of your strategy to see if it actually plays out based on what the market did in the past. All right, so let's just go over it from the start. All right, so if you notice, I have here different steps. Okay, now this is where the week started last week. Okay, but I want to show you what the trade was like before and what I used to be able to take my sell entries so that I could actually have a consistent sell to the lower point and then a consistent buy to the high points. Okay. All right. So if you notice the first thing that I did right here, I have a line right above, right on this wick for this high. That line represents the break line. Okay. The minute price comes up and breaks this level, you're going to see the higher high signal. So it's going to be signaled right here the first time. Now, when I see that higher high signal, that's not the time for me to enter the trade because there is going to be retracements. The move is not ready yet. It's just signaling to tell you that the market has made a higher high. It's in that status where it's making that higher high. It's coming to the end of the move. So I now need to look for confirmations before I can actually go in and take that sell. So there's no need to rush into the move. Okay. All right. So price came up, signal the higher high right here. Okay. But I'm waiting. Okay. So price came up all the way here to create this higher high. Now this zone, I call it my retracement zone. Okay. So if I enter the trade right here, okay, then I would suffer retracement all the way up here. Okay, so that's not my aim. My aim is to try and get the move at the top, as close to the top as possible, so I can maximize my pips, minimize my drawdowns, and increase my profit levels. Excuse me. All right. So if you notice, price broke, it came up here. Okay. This is where you enter the trade. Now, if you're not sure that the move is going to continue, the safest thing to do, the safest way to enter the trade is to wait for a break in structure and then a retest. And I'm going to show you exactly how that happened and how I was able to actually get 2 entries on this sell move. Okay. Now, because I've been doing this for a while, I'm comfortable going in for the sells in this retracement zone. Once it breaks here, I know this is not the time for me to enter. I'm waiting for that retracement before I go in, because remember, price has to sell from a higher high point. It cannot buy from a higher high point. In order for price to make another higher high, it needs to make a higher low. So notice this higher high right here. Before the higher high came on, there was a higher low. So anytime you see a higher high on the market, the move before it has to be a higher low. Has to be, 100% has to be. You just look on the market. Anytime you see this market at a higher high, the move before it is a higher low, all the times. All right. So when the move goes here, I can enter a sell anywhere in this zone. All right. I'm perfectly fine right here, anywhere in this zone. All right. Because I know it's going to sell. All right. Now, the other method, the other thing, which I like to do sometimes, is to wait for the break and the retest. Okay. So when you hear people saying, oh, you're waiting until the move starts and everything like that before you enter, yes, that's because I'm waiting for the retest so that I don't have to deal with the retracements anymore. And I'm going to show you exactly how that's done. All right. So let's say I didn't enter here. I'm waiting. I'm a cautious trader and I'm waiting. So price goes up, did this higher high. When the price comes down, okay, the minute it breaks this previous low point, that's when it's going to signal a low. Okay, this is now going to be a new low. Okay, the minute I see that break towards the downside, what I'm now waiting for is confirmation that the market is in fact making lower highs to lower lows. So with that being said, if it came down and created this zag point, I'm waiting for a zig point as my confirmation, which is now going to be my lower high. So look at what price did. It came down, it broke this line, formed a low. I'm not entering the sell right here, because if I do, I'm suffering all of these retracements. So all I'm doing once it breaks is I'm waiting for the lower high. Once the lower high comes on, I go in for my sell and I sell, no retracement. Okay. All right. So that is how you actually do it. Now, coming up to the end of the move, look at what happens. If you notice, TP was actually at my previous support line. This support line here was the 1 hour support line. The blue lines, as you know on my chart, for those of you who have been following me, the blue lines are actually my 1 hour support and resistance lines. So take profit is actually right here. Now, in order to get an entry back to the upside, if this comes and it makes this lower low right here, all I'm looking for is I'm going down to my small time frames to look for that break in structure so that I can take my moves towards the high side. So if you notice, when you come here, I have a circle right here and I have a note that says, here, I bought the 7,000 pips straight into Friday. All right. How did I achieve this? Well, market is at a lower low. Okay. I'm looking to see what the smaller time frames are now doing. Remember, my decision has already been made because this lower low, if you look at your bigger time frames like your daily, you'll see that that point was actually, in fact, the higher low that was made last Wednesday. Okay, so I know the market is still in trend. Okay, and of course, remember I said Mondays into Tuesdays into Wednesdays is when the market takes its time to actually do its retracement and do its setup for the big move. So if I go down to a small time frame, let's say my 1 minute, okay? Remember, I am looking for entries in order for me to go in, sorry, in order for me to go in to actually take the move towards the upside. So let's go back here and get my retest going right here. All right. So this is the move right here, this higher low move right here. All right. Now, if I use my backtest tool and I come here, what you'll notice is that when you look at your 1 minute time frame, you will see exactly what I'm talking about, that breaking structure. So this was the lower low point. This was the lowest point that the market did. Okay. Look at what happened. Price came up, waited for it to make that high. Okay. Then you want to see, this is going to be a breaking structure. Then you basically want to see that higher low created. Once you see that the market has now started to make higher lows, that's confirmation for you to know that the market is in fact buying. So here's my support line. Price came right here. It came up, higher low. This is one possible entry. Came up, it made this high. Okay. Came back down, made another higher low. That's double confirmation for you right now that the market is in fact buying. And you stay in that trade and look at what happened. Price actually did, and it went all the way and came up, and it just kept going. Okay. Now, another thing, remember, I've always said to you, I don't like coming into my trades on highs. I like to come in on my lows. You come in on this higher low right here. Look, price dropped. It didn't actually come all the way back down here, so you're still good. However, waiting on the low does not hurt. You wait for this low, it's actually a higher low because this low, new low, is formed higher than all of these three previous lows. And then that is how you actually ride the wave, ride the trade out all the way up until Friday. All right. So if you look at this, let me see if I can speed it up a little bit. Let's see. Let's do 3 times. Here we go. So your trade is running, you go back on your bigger time frame. And once you're on your bigger time frame, like your 1 hour, you'll see exactly how the trade is playing out. This is exactly what happened last week. So all of Thursday, it bought. All of Thursday, it bought. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this visual off and I'm going to actually show you in actual real time using the replay tool to see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to switch screens and I'm going to take off all of these labels. All right. So we go here, we take this off. We're going to take every single thing off. All right. So we show you exactly what we're talking about. All these lines will go. I'll just leave the steps there so you can actually see them. And this is one of the reasons, guys, why when I'm trading sometimes, I don't like to actually do commentary because it's really intensive. You have to focus, you have to understand what you're doing and everything like that. So the interruptions, I zone those out. And I usually will just comment on trades, you know, or comment on what the market is doing after the fact. Okay, like I said, I'm not a signal service. Nobody pays me any kind of subscriptions or anything. I'm just sharing my views. So that's perfectly fine with me. All right, so here we go. All right, so we're going to use our replay tool. We go here, we drag this back over here. All right. Now, okay, let me bring this back further so I will show you exactly what I was talking about when I say the higher high actually signals once it breaks a previous high. So here's what happened. Market did this higher low. All right. So we see the market is actually buying right now. All right. Now, because it made this point, this is now your zag point. Excuse me. So it needs to come up and make a zig point. Now, your zig point is going to be made once it breaks a previous high. So I get my my line. I draw a line right here at this point. Okay. The minute price comes here and breaks this line, it's going to signal a higher high. Okay. Don't believe me? Let's see. So we go here. This is what price did. Boom. Came right here at this line, higher high signal. Now, this is where I tell you that I am not rushing into the market to actually take the buys, because I'm expecting that the price is going to retrace some more, giving me a better chance to get a better entry so I can sell. All right. So we look at what price did. So it did that, it sold. Then, of course, it pushed up some more. Okay. Then it continued pushing up, doing that consolidation thing. All right, pushed up some more. Now we're into getting into London session. One more hour before London session. Boom. This is London session right here. Okay. All right. My entry, without a shadow of a doubt, is going to be here. Okay. That's where my entry is going to be. That is why I wait. That is why I don't rush into a trade when it goes down here. I wait. There's no harm in waiting. Okay. So let's say I came in at this line. All right. Let's look at what price did. So we came here. This would now be my entry. Okay. This would now be my sell entry. All right. Look at what price did. So it came up, retraced a little bit. Okay. But I'm right by my entry still. Okay. Price did that. I'm still right by my entry. Okay. Before it actually started to drop. Now, this, like I said, I am comfortable taking an entry here because I understand the concept of the zigzag theory. I understand the concept of higher highs to lows and all of that. It took years, it took months for me to actually practice to get it right. So don't beat up on yourself if sometimes, you suffer more retracement that you really need to. Just be consistent, just continue to practice, and it will work out at some point in time. So I'm going to show you a safer method to actually take an entry, okay, where you can be a lot more confident. And as your confidence grows, then you can start experimenting with different things. So this is where my entry was. And remember, I marked my retracement area. So if you look here, I just took a rectangle, and the first place it signaled that higher high, and where it actually went, this is actually my retracement area. Okay. So anywhere in this area, I'm good to go for a sell. And remember, I'm selling towards my lows. Okay. Now, the second method that I want to actually show you, which is actually the safest method, okay, where you wait for your confirmations, okay, you even wait for more confirmations before you actually go in and take the sell, okay, is I'm going to wait for it to break to show me that it's making a low, okay. Now, when you look at your bigger time frames, which I always encourage you to do, when you look at your 4 hour, for example, you see that your 4 hour is actually at a lower high. Remember, the move always goes from high to low, low to high. It may be a direct move, it may be a segmented move, but the moves goes from lows to highs, highs to lows. All right. So that's on my 4 hour right there. All right. So I know that the 4 hour has not made a low as yet. So which means my 1 hour is in fact going to come down to actually make lows and lower lows, because the 1 hour, which is the smaller time frame now, needs to be making lower highs, lower lows in order to fulfill the low on the 4 hour. All right. So I'm back on my 1 hour. All right. So I'm waiting for that break. Remember, I'm waiting for that break and that retest. So let's look. So the price did that. Boom. As soon as it broke this line right here, that's when the low was signaled. So if you have that line right here, I'm going to draw it all the way across. I'll tell you why I do that in a minute. Okay. That's now my break line. Okay. So that tells me that the market is in fact interested in making lows. This is not where I'm going to enter my trade. No, I only enter when the market is in a high position and I know it's going to sell to a low position. That's where the zigzag theory comes in. Market is at a zag, it needs a zig before I sell. That's it. It's plain and simple as that. It's at a zag point, which is a low point. I'm not going to be selling from this point. I'm going to be waiting. So for all of you who like to say that, oh, I sit and I wait until the move starts before I actually, yes, I'm waiting for my confirmation. I'm not going to jump into a sell right. All right. So look at what happens now. I'm waiting for a retracement and I'm waiting for a confirmation. I cannot enter a sell when this time frame is at a low point. So I'm waiting for it to come up and give me some sort of a high so that I can know it's time for me to get in for the sell. So look at what it did. So price did that. It pushed down some more. Not worried. Now it's starting to buy. Okay. Remember, I'm waiting. It came all the way up here. I did not get a high point. I did not get a zig point. So I'm still waiting. Market did this. Then notice what it did. Did some consolidation right along this line right here. This is the break line. Right here, it did that consolidation. Okay. And then, boom, look at what it did right here. You got a lower high point right here at 9 a.m. On Monday. That's a zig point. Remember, zag to zig. So zig. So the next move naturally is going to be a zag point. Okay. Another thing that I do is I like to jump down on my smaller time frames. All right. Just to ensure that everything is lined up. And once we have that lower high point on the 1 hour, everything below the 1 hour is going to be at a high point. All right. So here we go, all the way down to the 1 minute. So if you notice, your 1 minute is right there at a higher low and everything like that. All right. So what I'm doing, I want to make sure that my time frames are telling me that they're at those high points before I actually think about taking that sell. So look at it right here. Here we go. Here's a lower high on my 1 minute. Remember, I can't sell from a low point. So notice what I did. Waited for the price to come here before I'm going to enter. All right. So you go back to your 1 hour. Here you go. Your 1 hour right there. So based on the 1 minute, my entry is going to be right here where that lower high was formed right here. That's where my entry is going to be. Okay. Going back to my 1 hour. Here we go. Look at what price did. And there we go. That's how you enter the trade safely without dealing with that retracement. Price came all the way down, hit previous support, went, hit previous support, take profit. Now you're looking at buys because you're now in Wednesday. Now this move from this point right here, where we entered on that blue line, to all the way down to this previous support, that was 4,000 pips. 4,000 pips right there, just by waiting. So guess what? If I didn't take this entry here on Monday, okay, didn't take that entry there on, I didn't take this entry from Sunday night. I took it on Monday, okay? So you wait for that retest. Once I get that retest, boom, I'm in. I got the break, which tells me, yes, it wants to go down. I'm just waiting for my retest, which is my zig point. That's it. You can't sell from a zag, you need to sell from a zig. So that's your zig point right there. Now, if I came in here, I'm not saying, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you come here, the price won't go down. Yes, but you dealt with retracement. My thing is, I want to trade correctly. I want to trade in perfect in my art. I consider this an art form, and I strive in perfecting my art form. So I am waiting for that high point in order for me to go in for the sell. And that's exactly what I did. All right. Now, the next thing now, market is now at this low point. Where do we go from here? Well, again, checking all my big time frames. Going from my month, I see that my month is still at a higher high. I see that my week is still at a higher high point. Okay, I look at my day. I see that my day is actually, in fact, at a higher low point. Okay, now remember, if the market is going to sell, it cannot sell from a low point. It needs to sell from a high point. So which means when I'm on my 1 hour and I see right here that the price came down, hit my support line, and everything all the way up to the day is actually at a higher low. Well, the day would be at a higher low, and everything below that will be higher lows into lower lows. The smaller down you get, the more extreme the move gets down to the lower lows. All right. So immediately once I see this and it's an oversold lower low, I know that this market is still trending based on the bigger time frames. So what I'm doing right here is, because one, it's Wednesday, I know that the retracement, excuse me, I know that the retracements usually last until Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So now I'm looking to go for the trend move, which the trend moves is from higher lows to higher highs. So once this comes down and it makes this point right here, all right, which is the lowest point. Once it makes that lowest point right there, okay, look at what time that is. Right here, this is 2 p.m. This is in the afternoon. You already made 4,000 pips. There's no reason for you to actually keep pushing that market right now. And also, because remember, you are going in for your buys. Remember, it's a bullish trend. So any sells are temporary, and the sells are usually retracement moves. All right. So immediately once I see this and I'm out, all right, out of this trade, okay, this pullback, so you would probably exit right here where the candle closes, all right, that's where you'd enter. I'm sorry, exit where the candle closes. All right, let me just change the thickness on these so I don't get confused. All right, so you exit right there. So measure it again, see how many pips. So, oh, came in at the blue line. So the blue line to this thin blue line where it exited right there, that's about 3,800 pips. All right, let's call it 3,000 pips. That's still a good pip out. What am I looking for now for the buy? Because everything is confirmed now to be in the low position, okay? I'm going down to my smaller time frames and I'm looking for that break in structure and that retest. So here we go. I'm on my 1 minute time frame. Price was here, it made that low, okay? I need to see that break towards the high side, and then I need to see that retest on the low before I determine when I'm going in for that buy. So here we go. So this is what price did. Came down higher low, made a lower high, made a high, okay? That's a break, but that's an indirect break. That's an indirect move. That's a what do you call it? A segmented high. So instead of going from low straight to high, it went low, lower high, higher low to high. So it consolidated before it made that high. All right, so there's still some amount of consolidation that's happening. Now, if you enter the trade right here, you're still fine because you're still higher than the lowest point. However, going the safe method, which I just explained to you when I was taking the sell, you wait for that break and retest. So you have this break right here. All you're sitting down and waiting on right now is for a low to form that's higher than the previous lows so that you know that the market is confirmed to go for that buy. So let's look. Market did that. It did a higher low. Then it did a higher high. All right. So you got to be patient. Now, some people will start chasing the price and jumping in because they see that it start making higher highs. No, don't rush the price. Just wait. Just wait. okay, it will come back to you. All right. So price did that. And then look at what happened. It went and it went all the way up there. Notice higher low. Okay, boom. Here you go. Here's your low. So price actually finished right here. This candle closed at a low point. Okay. This low is actually higher than this low. So if you take a trend line and you draw that trend line from here and connect this low, you'll see that the trend line is actually higher. Let's make it thicker, thickest point so you can actually see. This trend line is actually trending up. So that's your confirmation right there to know that you're going in for your buys. So you enter your trade right here, right at this blue line right here. Once this candle finishes, you're in this trade because you're going up for the buy. All right. And then that is how you actually know. You are now in the trend move. So remember, the market is trending higher lows to higher highs, which means when you look at your daily time frame, your daily is actually coming from a higher low. So you are in fact in the trend move. So your next exit is going to be on your higher high. That's it. Period. End of story. Full stop. That's how you make 7,000 pips on a move, on a single move, by being patient, not rushing the price, not making crazy calls, just waiting on your confirmations. The market will give you your confirmations if you look for them, if you know what you're looking for, and if you're patient. So back down to the 1 hour. Look at what happened. Price just kept pushing. That's all of Thursday. All of Thursday. Notice it came down, it made a higher low right here. Okay? Here we go. That's a zag point. You got to wait for that zig point. Now, I must be honest with you and tell you that last week on Thursday afternoon, I actually took a sell right here. I took a sell from this higher high point because I said, okay, fine. You know what? Maybe it might not go up to make that higher high. It may come down to actually put the higher low on for the weekly. So I actually took my, took a sell from here. But not to worry, because remember, when you go in on the high point on the market, the worst thing that can happen is that the market will make a higher low, come back and retest just above this line to make a higher high, okay, which is still fine because remember, you sell from either highs or higher highs, okay? So the fact that this market did not make a low, I'm not worried. Any retest, I'm going to be able to handle it. So look at what the market did. This was on Friday now. Remember, I'm in the sell. So price came. Now remember, as soon as price breaks this line, this is where you're going to see that higher high come on. Okay. So price came here and it did this. Soon as it broke that line, higher high. But I'm not worried. I'm just waiting because I know the price has to come down to make a low. Okay, that's all the market does. It makes highs and lows every single day. So you stay in that trade, and I'm going to show you I actually took the entry for that trade. All right. So it came down. Notice it came down. It made that low. As soon as it made a low, then it started to buy up again. I stayed in the trade. Why? Because I know that all my bigger time frames, if you look at them, are still at high points. They have not registered any type of lows. All right. So I know that the move is still good. All right. So you come back here on your 1 hour and you're on your 1 hour time frame. And of course, you're waiting. You want to see exactly what's happening. Now look at what happened. This is where it finished on Friday. So it came up, didn't do that high point, okay, on Friday, but it came back down and it actually came very close to its lowest point that it made. So at that point in time, I realized that there's some amount of consolidation going forward. So here, at this point, I'm in profit. I'm good. It's coming up to the end of the week. Candle is closing. The weekly candle is closing. The daily and every candle below it is closing. So at this point in time, there's no need for me to actually hold this trade over the weekend. I will exit, take my profit, and wait for another setup this coming week. All right, at 6 o'clock this evening, if the setup comes, you take it. If it doesn't come, then you wait until the setup comes. There's no rush in trading. It's all about patience. All right. So if you notice right here, you'll see this is where the candle ended. Now, what made me decide to come out? All right, I looked at my 1 minute. And my 1 minute, the last lower low that it made was about four, in the 4 o'clock hour, thereabout. I came out on the second candle when it started to pull up. So I'm in profit. So I came out, closed my position and everything. Good week, done for the week. Now I'm waiting for a new setup. Now notice what it did. It bought up, made a lower high, then it came back down, made a higher low. All right, at this point in time, this is very close to the end. There's no reason for me to actually trying to be squeezing anything else out of the market. Take profits and go. All right, so that's how I exited. Last thing I want to show you was on that move on Friday. What was the correct way, or one of the correct ways to actually take that move that you saw on Friday. So let me just go back to the 1 hour time frame. And then I'm going to drag this back to here. All right. All right. So this is where we are. This is 12 p.m. on Thursday. All right. Market is still pushing up pretty strong. Came up, it did that. All right. Came all the way here. It fell short of the higher high on the daily time frame. Now, if you look at your daily, this is basically where it closed on Friday. Notice no higher high was formed on the daily. All right. So I'm on my 1 hour. All right. What am I looking for? Well, I go down to my 5 minute because I was tracking the move all the way up. All right. So I look at my 15 minute. My 15 minutes is at higher highs. I look at my 5 minute. My 5 minute is actually trading low to high. It's now at a what you call it there, a higher high point. I'm looking to see what type of lows is going to be made on the biggest time frame. Okay, the biggest time frame to register a low, a new low. So we're looking. Price did that, it came down. Boom. Broke here, put on this low right here. All right. Now, here's what I did. I look at my 15 minute. 15 minute did not create a low. The 5 minute created that low. It was a segmented low. Okay. So what am I doing now? So I take a trend line and I draw from here to here. Okay. All right. Let's make this thinner. All right. Price did this, push down, push down. Remember, I'm not taking any sells or anything yet. I'm not doing anything yet. I'm waiting for confirmation. All right. Price did that. All right. So now we are in what is known as London session. Yep. No, well, this is 8 p.m. Sorry. London session starts at 3 a.m. So we're still waiting. I want to see what type of high is going to be created on, okay. And here we have the first indication of that high. Now, once that happens, I take my line, and this is my high point right here. This is now going to be my resistance area. This is now going to be my resistance area, okay? Because it's at a high on my 5 minute, okay? Now, if you look, this is only 11:55 p.m. on Thursday, all right? So you still have some amount of, consolidation and retest, that may happen overnight and everything. You still have up until, London session. So you're going to see a number of things bouncing around. So you notice it came here and it made that higher high. At that point in time for me, I'm actually, this is another entry that you can actually take, okay? This is another entry for a sell that you can actually take because it came up, it broke for this higher high right here. However, when you look at your bigger time frames, you'll see that it's only a lower high. It's only a lower high. If you look at your 30-minute, your 30-minute is still at a high point. Your 45-minute, still at a high point. Your 1 hour, still at a high point. So that tells you right there that the market has found some level of resistance. All right. So you're in the sell right here. Now look at what happened. Did all of that. Now notice price came down. It did that low, low, lower low. Okay. All right. Now, at this point in time, this is 3:05 a.m. All right. You're into London session. Look at what price did. Push down some more. It pushed down lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Now it came up, it made another high right here. Okay, but this high is actually lower than these highs over here. You check on your 15-minute, you still see it is a lower high. Okay, now this is what I want to actually point out to you. Now, remember, I said to you that when I took this entry right here, okay, I took this sell entry based on the high on my 1 hour. And I'm also selling to my lows. Now, price did not go down to make the low, right, that I wanted it to make at that time. However, I know that the low is going to come at some point in time because remember, the market works itself down from a high to a low. However, look at it. Here you go. Zig point, zag point. Here's your other zig point. A zag point must come. Okay? So when you go back to a time frame like your 5-minute, you realize now that the price is actually working itself up. Not to panic, just wait. Just wait. Just trust your analysis and know that you're going from the highs to the lows. And the fact that you came in on a high, the price cannot go much further than a high before making some sort of low. All right. So we're in that. And this is what happened on Friday. So let's go on to 1 hour and I'll show you. So I'm in that trade. Remember, this was my entry right here. Okay. I'm in that point. Okay. This is what the price did. It came up after 9:30, went all the way up here. Let's measure the amount of pips. So from here to here, that's like about 600 pips. All right. Okay. Now look at what the price did. Remember, I told you I'm waiting for the lows. So it went up, retraced, came back down, boom, I'm in profit right here. So from this line where I entered all the way to down here, that was 1,300, well, 1,400 pips. Okay. Again, checking my bigger time frames. On my bigger time frames, I only see that my 2 hour was at a higher low. Okay. I look at my 3 hour, my 3 hour is still at a high. There's no sort of low point, which means the market cannot buy until a low point is formed. Okay, so I know that there's still some amount of sells that will happen on my bigger time frames. I just need to be able to deal with the retracements that will happen on my smaller time frames. All right, so on Friday, this is what happened. So now we're at 11 a.m. Now this is what price did. Price did that. Okay, and then it came down. Now this is 3 p.m. All right, I'm getting ready to close because, again, like I told you, the weekly candle is going to be closing at 5 p.m., which means everything below the weekly candle is also going to be expired. Okay, so which means if it finishes in that low position, I'm going to exit and I'm going to wait for another setup before I actually start selling the market again. Okay, all right, so let's look at how it finished. There we go. This is where the price finished on Friday. Was able to take profits, come out. Now I'm out of the market. I'm waiting for a new setup to determine whether I'm going to continue with the sell or I'm going to be waiting for the continuing the sell by getting those highs on my lower time frames, and or if I'm going to be waiting for the buys, if I wait for my bigger time frames to actually complete those moves. Remember, the moves that I really want to get are my buys, because those are the trend moves, those are the bigger moves, those are the moves that have the most amount of pips. So I'm not 100% worried if I miss a sell. What I'm waiting for is my trend moves. Now, let's measure last week. This is where the market opened. Okay, this was the sell. The sell to here was 4,000 pips. Well, let's measure the buys. The buys from here all the way up to where it went was 7,000 pips, almost 8,000 pips. So it makes sense. Remember, I only need 2,500 pips using my 25,000 divider in order to make 100% on my account. This one trade alone from Wednesday was able to give me that. Why? Because of patience and waiting on the correct setup. So going back again to our visual, this is the visual right here. All right. This is the visual right here. First entry, step one, came in, waited for this break, waited for the move to actually finish all the way to a higher high, no rush on it. But if you want to actually be cautious, you wait for the price to come back down, break for a low. Once it breaks, you wait for that retest, then you enter on your retest, and then you sell to the end. Okay? Same thing with going up. You drop down to your smaller time frame, you look for that break and retest. In this case, we waited for the break and retest on the 1 minute before we actually bought up. All right. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope it really serves to, enlighten somebody. And, for those of you who are watching and really want to learn patience, please just practice. Don't stop with the name calling. Stop, I don't do this for money. I don't do this to get any kind of viewers or subscriptions. I don't get paid to do any of this. This is just my information that I'm sharing and everything. So for those of you who are looking to get subscribers and everything like that, maybe you need to spend some time and invest in your content so that people will see substance in your content and be able to actually start sharing and subscribing to what it is that you're proposing. So I hope that we all have a good trading week and that we all will be successful. So thank you again, guys, and I will see you next time. And please remember, like I said, sometimes during the week, I will not be commenting. I will not be posting. Like I said, I'm not a signal service. So I'm not going to be posting, oh, enter here, exit here. No, I'm not going to be doing that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just sharing what it is that I use to be able to take the trades that I take in the hope that it will actually help somebody to develop their own strategy. All right. So God, thank you again for this opportunity to share and to just discuss trading. I pray that you'll just be with us this week and may we have a successful week. Thank you. We love you again. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys. See you next time.